Okay, good evening to everyone. We are here in Juliaca. It's March 22nd, 2015, and welcome to the fourth official program, the third episode of this vlog called My Weird Wednesdays. Thank you to everyone who is watching, and thank you for everyone who has watched because it's been really interesting for me. We have jumped from a total of 182 views before this vlog to a whopping total of 622 views up to date. Um, we also have people that is watching from Peru, obviously, with an 86% of views. And also, we have people from the United States, from Spain, from Argentina, Panama, Chile, Brazil, Germany, Colombia, Mexico, Italy, Honduras, Nicaragua, Paraguay, Venezuela, Poland, Ecuador, Bolivia, Japan, Indonesia, the Netherlands, Austria, and France. So a shout out to everyone over there, and thank you, thank you for showing this interest in your humble servant. I feel really moved, and I'm really honored that you really want to know a little more about the things that happen in my life, and it's really interesting for me. Um, well, um, this month, especially this last week, we have had a lot of festivities and celebrations, and I'm gonna read some of them that I've found in micro research that I've made. We have many celebrations and observances in 2017. We have, for example, in the United States and Canada, the Employee Appreciation Day in last March 3. We have the Children's Day in New Zealand. We have the Global Money Week from March 5th to March 11th. We have the Decoration Day in Liberia and the No Smoking Day in the United Kingdom. We also have the World Sleep Day on March 17th. That was also St. Patrick's Day. We're gonna talk a little more about that in a minute. There are many different festivities and celebrations for the March equinox that this year was on March 20th, that is last Monday. And well, we also have many interesting days, like for example, the National Banana Cream Pie Day on March 12th, and we also have, uh, I think it's the oh yes, the Pie Day on March 14th. That it's not about the dessert. We're talking about the number. The number is 3.1415, etc. And it's really interesting, especially for the math fans. Well, we have the Children's Day in Bangladesh. We have also um, the anniversary of the oil expropriation in Mexico on March 18th. And here in Peru, we had on March 16th a celebration for the birth of Cesar Vallejo, who was one of the most renowned poets and writers here in Peru. He was born in Santiago de Chuco, and he died in Paris, in France. Uh, then We also have on March 20th, we have the Independence Day of Tunisia. We have the International Francophonie Day. We have the UN, that is the United Nations French Language Day. We have the National Native HIV/AIDS Awareness Day in the United States, and we have the World Sparrow Day. Then we have on March 21st, we have Human Rights Day in South Africa, the Harmony Day in Australia. We have the Independence Day of Namibia. We have the International Color Day, the International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination. That is something that we have to really talk about um, more deeply. We have the International Day of Forests, and we have the Mother's Day in most of the Arab world. Uh, we have the World Down Syndrome Day, the World Poetry Day, the World Puppetry Day, and today we have the Emancipation Day of Puerto Rico and the World Water Day. But what I want to point out especially is something that happened last Monday. That is the International Day of Happiness. That's something that was instituted by the United Nations, and it was instituted for the first time. It was celebrated for the first time on 2012, like just 5 years ago. And so it's something very interesting. Maybe some can think that it's kind of frivolous or superfluous, but I think that it's something very interesting and very important for all of us. Being that for most people, um, reaching happiness is one of their supreme goals, as you would say. Well, first of all, we're gonna mix a little of all the big sections, and we're gonna talk about the concept of happiness. What is happiness? According to Wikipedia, that is, no matter what most people say, it's a rather reliable source of material. Happiness is a mental or emotional state of well being defined by positive or pleasant emotions ranging from contentment to intense joy. So, for the ones who say that if someone is happy, they should be jumping around, it's not exactly like that. For example, in my case, when I'm happy, I'm usually serene, I'm usually content, and so that means that not everyone expresses happiness in the same way. Okay? Let's continue with this. Happy mental states may also reflect judgments by a person about their overall well being. A variety of biological, psychological, economic, religious, and philosophical approaches have striven to define happiness and identify its sources. Various research groups, including positive psychology and happiness economics, are employing the scientific method that is really interesting and weird at the same time to research questions about what happiness is and how it might be attained. Okay? And to finish with this citation, um, the United Nations declared the 20th of March the International Day of Happiness to recognize the relevance of happiness and well being as universal goals. Um, as we are experiencing some very challenging times here in Peru. Thankfully, I am not in one of the affected zones. There have been a lot of raining and storms and stuff, floods and many natural disasters that have happened, especially in the cities of the north of the country. For example, like Chiclayo or Trujillo, that is my hometown. I feel really bad about that. also in Piura and Tumbes and many other places, especially in the capital city in Lima. There have been many problems all around Lima because in Lima we have a system of three rivers flowing through the city, and it's been really chaotic and it's been really challenging for many people. But even so, I think that one of the best things that we should do is try to cheer up no matter how hard or how tough things are in our lives. I know that you're gonna say like, okay, it sounds very easy when you are in a rather comfortable position. Well, for the ones who doubt it, it's not so in my case. I have many different challenges and problems and things that I'm going through. I'm not gonna say what they are right now because I don't think it's necessary. But yeah, I do have problems too, um, and so what I know for sure that helps me to to cope with that is to think that it's not going to be permanent. It's not going to be forever. Those things are going to pass, and so mm, it's just like the weather or like rain. It just rains for a moment, and then the rainbow may come out, and so it's just that, right? And a big shout out for Ireland and for all the people who are descendants from Irish people. We have the St. Patrick's Day that was last Friday, the March 17th, um, and well, it's interesting that it's something that is celebrated in many parts of the English-speaking world. It's really interesting, and well, I'm not wearing green right now, but I uh, I really like the three-leaf shamrock symbol. And according to legend, as far as I know, Saint Patrick used the three-leaf shamrock to explain the Holy Trinity to Irish pagans, and it's something really remarkable from that. And so, well, happy belated St. Patrick's Day to everyone. And so, well, my weekly obsession. Let's move on because I want to maintain the videos as short as possible. Well, my weekly obsession has to do with a bunch of songs from the 80s and 90s that I haven't heard for a long while. And I had them compiled in a list that I recently reread. That I thought I lost that list, but I just found it somehow. And I was revisiting those songs after such a long time, and it was like, wow, there's so much music that I just uh, dismissed somehow. And so I want you to tell me something in the comments. Okay, tell me what was your favorite song, your favorite artist, your favorite music genre, and I don't know, maybe your favorite music age or era. Hmm. And I would like to know about that in the comments. So, well, let's see what happens with that, especially about the 80s and the 90s. Okay, well, and now let's talk a little about the micro class of Spanish. Well, you have to know that uh, the conjugation of verbs in Spanish is rather more complex than what it is in English. For example, if I want to say I swim, I have to say yo nado. Okay? You swim would be tú nadas or usted nada, because you have to remember that in Spanish we still have this differentiation between the tú, that is the proximity pronoun, and usted, that is the courtesy pronoun for the second person singular. Then he swims would be él nada, she swims would be ella nada, and it swims would be eso nada, esto nada, aquello nada. Um, no, it doesn't have anything to do with the word nothing, that is also nada, but we can distinguish that because of the context, okay? And for the plurals, we have we swim, that would be nosotros nadamos. Uh, you swim would be ustedes nadan or vosotros nadáis. That's something that happens especially in Spain. And ellos nadan would be the equivalent for they swim. Okay? And as you may have noticed, there is something very common for all the verbs, and you have just to change the ending. Okay? We know that to swim is nadar in Spanish. Nadar, as, as all of the other verbs that end in ar, are called the verbs of the first conjugation. The verbs ending in er, are the verbs of the second conjugation. And the verbs that end in ir, and also the verb ir, that is to go, are considered into the third conjugation. And depending on that, you have a whole system of endings that you have to use for the different grammatical persons. That is the reason why we don't use much pronouns in Spanish. We can say many things with just one word. Is for the most part, it's the verb, and we don't need to use the pronouns as much as is it necessary in English, because with the with the ending of the verb, we also have the notion not only about the tense and the aspect, but also about the person. The conjugation in Spanish gives us this slight advantage, so to speak. And well, I want you to know that it is necessary for us also to take care of water. Today is the International Water Day, and so we desperately need to pay attention to all the water sources that we have. Please use water wisely. Don't just waste it. Okay, and so, well, this is going to be everything for that video. Thank you for liking, for sharing, for commenting, and for viewing the video. Thank you for everything, and get ready for next week, because we're going to have some changes that are going to be interesting, and something. I heard some comments about the first 2 weeks, so the first two videos, that is the pilot and also the first episode, that have some problems with the audio. There are some issues about that. I'm working on trying to correct them as soon as possible. Please be patient. I'm going to try to do it as soon as I can. I am actually doing something about that. I'm trying to restore the actual audio, because you have to remember that those were live broadcasts, and so some of the audio might have gotten lost, and so I'm restoring that, and I'm even thinking of subtitling the videos, so it's easier for everyone to understand what I say. And so, well, thank you for saying, thank you for